and welcome to Tune In Tuesday. My name is Sharon Rogers and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. And every fourth Tuesday of the month, I like to bring you an online class with a featured bundle. So the featured bundle tonight is Extraordinary Flora. This is a 5-piece stamp set with kind of a florally love theme. The sentiments are congratulations, with love, and for the extraordinary couple. So this makes great wedding or anniversary cards. But of course you can use flowers anytime for any occasion. The die that is bundled with this is a single die, and it takes this single large image, which is comprised of smaller images, and it die cuts each one of those images. So this creates 16 separate little bits and bobs, as my friends in the UK would say. So let's go ahead and get started. And you're going to also find that I'm going to bring in a technique for the second card that incorporates what we learned in Technique Tuesday, which was the second Tuesday of this month. Let's get started. You'll need the largest block for that largest image, which is really a series of smaller images. I'm going to ink this up in Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to stamp it on this piece of white. You'll need a piece of basic white that is 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that way everything will fit on there very nicely. Just want to apply some even pressure. And there we have a nice image. And then you can color this. I'm going to bring in, I think, Lemon Lolly, light and dark, and Granny Apple Green, light and dark Stampin' Blends. And it doesn't matter where you start. You can start with the flower parts. You can start with the leaves. Doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and start with the leaves here. And we're just going to do some coloring. I always start with the light first, but it doesn't really matter. What does matter is for the best results blending, you want to do just one image at a time, because you want to catch the inks before they're fully dry. And these are alcohol markers, so they dry fairly quickly. I'm going to bring in the black. I mean the dark black, that's not black. And just do some shading in here, maybe near the base of these flowers. Okay, that looks a little bit rough. It will blend the more it sits, but I'm going to just come in here and help it blend a little bit. Just go over it with that light color again. And I'm not blending all the way up, just a little bit where those rough edges are. And so then you get a beautiful multi-dimensional look. And then we can move to the next leafy area. These are smallish areas, so I am using the bullet tip. I find it's a whole lot easier and saves my wider tip for when perhaps I really need it. And when you open your blends, don't pull from the middle. You want to pull here, otherwise sometimes this barrel can separate. So you want to, let me show you again, because some of these are tighter than others. You want to hold it right up here, and then you want to pull. I said they're tighter than others. See, this is an example. think we have all the leaves done. And now we can add in the color here. And I'm going to start with a dark just on a couple of places, namely the center of these two flowers. I'll put the dark here as well. You know, the centers of these. Probably color all the centers dark. And it's okay if you go out of the circle in that center because you're gonna be dragging some light color anyway. I'll show you what I mean. And here for these roses, I'm gonna actually kind of draw inside all those little lines that the artists have given me. And then I'm probably gonna put in some of this as well. Just one kind of shade here. All right. Some of these I think I will keep white, and some I will keep, I will color in a little bit more yellow. This one I'm just gonna kind of drag a little bit of color out. It'll be sort of white and sort of yellow at the same time. This one, let's go ahead and make that all a light lemon lolly. You see how you get different looks here. And I'm just going to use those shading spots that the artist put in and drag just a little bit of the yellow out. Again, this one's going to get all the light lemon lolly. And we're going to fill in the spots here. That'll blend a little bit with the dark lemon lolly. Give us a little bit more depth. All right, I think I'll drag a little bit of yellow here out too. If you want to come back in and make the dark a little bit darker, you can. Or you can use a different yellow. Like I could bring in Darling Duckling. I have it right here. You can see it's a darker yellow. You can definitely see it on this one. All right, so there we have some pretty white and yellow flowers to go with our greenery. Now let's go ahead and die cut that. And so there is just one die on that Extraordinary Flora die. You just line it up. And what I like to do on this particular die is put a couple different pieces of washi tape down. So I'm going to look at the corners to see if I can line them up as best I can. And it's okay if they're going to be a little bit off, but you do want to try to get them as close as possible. Let's see, there's one spot there I can adhere. There's another spot there. All right, now let's die cut that. We bring in our machine, we're going to need plates 1, 2, and 3. And then our die and paper. And another 3 on top. So this is something great to do, like if you just have a bunch of time or you just, feel like relaxing and doing a little bit of coloring. Believe it or not, a lot of people find that relaxing. Then this is just something that you can pick up and do, stamp a bunch of these and then color and measure able. And you have a whole bunch of these to fall back on if you need to make a quick card. All right, and so now you can see I've got all these pretty little images. And I could keep a little bit of a basket. In fact, I think I have one over here somewhere. You can buy a bunch of these little containers, lots of places. This one came from Amazon. You can hold some extras in there. That's from the washi tape. I'll show you that later. Well, let's make a card with this. So I'm going to keep these out here. And I really love This is a really nice clean look. So I'm gonna do a lot of white on white here. Here's a piece of basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm gonna bring in this Glass and Gardens embossing folder, because this Gardens folder that's in here, so there's 2 little mini folders in here. That one has flowers that mimic the Extraordinary Flora, at least to some degree. So here's the Glass and Gardens one, which goes nicely with the celebratory sips stuff product. I'm gonna put this right in here, and you can see that it goes, it can go all the way to the edge. Now I want to make this near the top, so I'm gonna just slide this down a little bit. I've got it lined up on the edge here so that I know it's nice and straight going across. If you look on this, it does not say 3D anywhere. So when you don't have a 3D folder, you're going to do it differently than if you do. So bring in your machine. By the way, the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine will work the Extraordinary Flora products. But I just have my large one out because my mini one is where I hold my classes. So the directions are on here about what you're going to use. So insert embossing folders hinge first, which we always do. So using standard embossing folders, which is what this is, you're going to have base plate number 1, and then you're going to have 2 3 plates. So we're not going to be using number 2. You're going to have 2 number 3 plates with this and the hinge going through first. Let me get my other number 3 plate and put that on there. And we're going to send that through. And you get this beautiful embossed background here. And on top of that, we can go ahead and arrange some of the flowers. So let's just start thinking about what we want where. So I'm going to put something like that. I'm going to put this one sort of here. Bring in some other pieces. And you can just arrange, you could probably arrange all day long. I mean, I know I probably could. I'm going to try not to. You can just put some different flowers up here. Let's see, we got to have some more greenery, I think. Something that looks like that, and then maybe one more little piece out here. Looks a little heavy on the left, so let's take this out. And we can put this on the top here, and maybe we can put this right down there, and you just angle it. And so then we have just this really pretty look. If you need a few more greeneries sticking out, you can do that as well. So it goes edge to edge. So I think I like that quite a bit. It's just a matter now of sticking things down. So I'm going to try to uncover a little bit. I'm going to try to remember what I did. All right, so this one kind of comes last. So I'm going to just adhere this down. And if you use glue, you do have a little bit of wiggle time, especially since where we're putting it is embossed. that. And I think this one was coming out here. Okay, that's going to go in there. Let's take these off, a little layer at a time. There we have that. This is sticking out at the end. Oh, you know what? We could do this one too. Let's do this one because I don't have many of these rounded ones over here. So let's do that. Maybe I put this one over on the other side. Have any of you taken a flower arranging course? I'm sure that would come in very handy for doing this. But I'm sure it's just like stamping. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Let's put this one down here. I know I'm messing it up to from where I had it before. That's all right. It's still going to be beautiful. I know it. There's something that looks like that. And then I'm going to put maybe this up on a dimensional just to give it a little bit more depth. So I need my dimensionals. There we go. I'm going to put a couple on here. Okay, so stick those down. Stick that right like this. And I think these guys are going to get dimensionals too. So we'll put that one right there. And we'll put this one over on the other side. Get this dimensional. I don't want to cover all of that embossing in the back because that's lots of pretty interest there. So there we have that. All we need is a sentiment. I think this is so light and beautiful. I think this looks like a beautiful wedding card. Of course, you could put on any sentiment that you wanted, but I'm going to bring in for the extraordinary couple. It's a very long, skinny stamp. So flip it upside down and then put your block to it. And now I'm going to just stamp this right down here for the extraordinary couple. Hope I got that straight. I'm working kind of far away from it's not too bad, from my base here. I'm going to bring in my base card and I'm going to put this up on dimensionals because that will help it look a lot more extravagant. One in each of the four corners and then two somewhat in the middle on those long edges. Whoop. Now, remember, check your fold. If you're seeing the bottom edge, flip it over. You don't want to see two edges on the front. It needs to come down just a little bit. Okay, and then we can, of course, put on the inside a sentiment as well. There's congratulations. You could also do with love, or you could do congratulations with love. I'm just going to do the congratulations. There Here's my congratulations. I think this is the ink pad that's not got the balanced inking. And then we could add some flowers out here too. Arrange that however you want. You could do more than one. You can do different ones on each side. I think I'm just going to do one. I could glue a couple to the outside as well of the envelope. I knew the second that I got that glue free, it would really come squirting out. So there we go. And so there is just a really, really pretty card. Now, if you want to step this up a little bit and make it even more special, you can bring in your Wink of Stella. Just adds a little bit of sparkle to things. So I would just add my Wink of Stella to some of the flowers, I think. You could add it to the leaves as well if you wanted to. It's really on what you want. You're making it. But it really does bling it up. Makes it a little extra special. Even more, you could add some rhinestones. Still waiting for my rhinestones to come in. But we could add just a smattering of them. Add them where, oops, that's a hair. Don't want to add that one. You just add a bunch of them. You know what? I'm even going to do more because it's a wedding card. Let's really bling it out. It calls attention to some of the embossing out here as well. Okay, and there we go. For this next card, I'm going to show you how you can simplify the coloring process. You can use the Extraordinary Flora washi tape. This comes on a humongous roll. It is 3 1/4 inches wide, I believe. 3 1/4 inches wide. Let's see. It's 3 1/4 inches wide, and the pattern repeats after about after I think 5 1/4 inches. Let me just kind of put that down there. I'm just going to pull this. Now you can see that this section right here starts a bit of a different color scheme. It's a warmer color scheme. So I'm going to cut that off and try to go fairly straight, but all right. Now, if you've ever put a screen protector on a phone, you know that one of the things you have to do to avoid bubbles is burnish it, maybe with a credit card. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to pick up on the edges and just lay it down and smooth it down as I go. And then I'm going to get a really nice adhesion. Even if I get a couple little wrinkles, it's going to be okay, unlike with your phone. All right, so here we have here, got a couple little wrinkles in there, but they're not going to be very noticeable, especially since most of it's on the white. All right, so there I have that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my die, and we're going to cut this out. But you definitely want to make sure you have a good hold on there with the washi tape. Let's bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We could use the small one, the Mini Boss, but I can't use it because mine is at the place I hold my classes. All right. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to try to hold it down a little bit with some tape. And I am taping off the side. I find it gives a little bit better of a stick when you're doing washi tape on washi tape. So let's go ahead and slide this through the top plate. All right. Use this again next time. And now we have a bunch of die cut flowers, beautifully shaded. Wow, did we do an awesome, awesome job coloring those. Ha ha ha. All right, I'm gonna set these down off to the side. And we're gonna start the card. So one of the other things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in something that we used on Tune In Tuesday, or a Technique Tuesday at the beginning of the month, the second Tuesday of the month. And that's this Irresistible Designs paper. We use the crosshatch design a lot, but there's also a floral design. I don't know if that's picking that up. And there's also a leaf design. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the leaf design. And I'm gonna cut a layer that is 4 inches wide by 5 1/4. And I'm going to remind you what we did on that Tuesday. We did some resist technique. I'm going to bring in a blending brush, and let's bring in a piece of paper to protect my surface. So here we go. And I think I'm going to use Coastal Cabana. See how nicely that goes? So let's bring in my Coastal Cabana ink pad. And we're going to ink up our blending brush. All right. And the vine goes up and down. Some of them go down, some of them go up. So there's not really a right side or a wrong side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to complete that ombre look that I did last time we were together on a Tuesday. I'm going to have this bottom left-hand corner the darkest, so my ombre is going to actually run on a diagonal. Whoop. There we go. Ink it up again, start it in the darker area, and always just keep going up to the right. So it gets lighter as you go, and we'll just have to keep adding some more ink. Remember, you don't want it the same color everywhere because then it wouldn't be ombre. So I've got my light up here pretty well done. Let's get this a little bit darker, which means then we've got to get this a little bit darker, which means then we're going to get this bottom area darker. And so it's going light, light, dark. And remember, when you are doing resist, you need to buff off the area that's going to resist the ink. So let's go ahead and just take a soft cloth, a tissue, or a paper towel, and you just get a little bit of the ink off. And so now if we put this on our card base, we have something that looks like that. Let's go ahead and adhere that so it doesn't move. All right. There we go. And now what I want to do is I want to create a frame for a sentiment, and then my flowers are going to decorate that frame a little bit. I thought it would be interesting if we brought in our meant to be dies. I haven't used them for a little while. So this is the very smallest one. And I'm really going to cut out two. I'm going to cut one out of Basic White, and I'm going to cut one out of Coastal Cabana. All right, here's my number 1, 2, and 3 plate. Get them in there. There we go. Here's a piece of Basic White. I'm going to put that point through first. Remember, we want to try to avoid a hard edge going through. Now, when you cut this out, remember these dies give you 2 pieces. The white inside is what I want to keep on this one. I can use that other one for something some other time. And then I'm going to cut out the hexagon again using the Coastal Cabana. And this time I'm going to want to keep the Coastal Cabana outside, not the inside. So this can be used some other time. And let me just drop that so I can, come on, there we go. Get that out. All right, let's move this out of the way. So what's going to happen is I'm going to bring in my frame here and bring in my white piece. So that's where my sentiment is going to go. So I need to decide what I want to stamp for a sentiment and in what color. Now, if you look at these pieces, we've got a number of different colors that are involved. There's petunia pop, probably a berry burst-ish kind of color in here. But I think I'm going to use the petunia pop. That's one of our in colors. It's the one that's on its last year. All right, so let's see where we're going to put this first. We need to stamp it. Now I noticed that there's a little something, I think it's adhesive on this edge. So I'm really going to put that, I'm going to put that where it's going to be covered up. So let's take my stamp here, and I brought in, because the words or the sentiments that are in this are very small, and this is a fairly large surface, I just grabbed my Unbounded Love bundle and I chose the Happy Birthday because, you know what? You can never have too many birthday cards. Let's go ahead and stamp this, and we're going to see if, get that. That's pretty good right there. I'm going to adhere this to my card front. Just a little bit of glue. Let's put that right in the center. That looks pretty good. I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana frame and just put a little bit of glue on the edges. Just a little bit. Okay. Here we go. And now we will finish by putting some flowers around this frame. And we've got all sorts of flowers that we can use. Let's see. I think I'd like to follow this frame. Oh, there we go. That looks nice. And maybe we can put something like that. And something like that in there. Or maybe we just put in something that looks like that with one of these flowers kind of popped up. Yeah, I think that's gonna look good. Let's go ahead and put some stuff down. I'm gonna put this one down first because that's in the center. It's easier to build off that since I want this underneath. So we've got that. And I know this wants to be along the bottom edge of the frame. So we're going to do that. And I know this one's going to be this top edge of the frame. So we're going to do that. And let's go ahead and put in some more of these flowers. I'm just going to do that in there. So I'm kind of staying away from all the edges with my glue. That way I can sneak some things underneath here if I want to. And then I think one more flower right here. Do I want the large one? Do I want the small? I think I want the larger one. And I'm going to put that one up on a dimensional. All right. Oh, that one's not glued down yet. The glue does take a little bit longer if it's on washi tape because that's a little less porous. And so there we have Happy Birthday with a nice little frame around. We've got our Irresistible Designs paper in the background, also adding some interest, but pretty colors, don't you think? All right, I'm going to begin with a piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock that's made into a card. And then I also have a piece that is 3 1/4 by 5.5 inches long. So it extends the full length of the card. Now I'm going to bring in my stamp and the Flirty Flamingo ink pad. I'm going to ink that up. And then I'm going to stamp on this layer. And this will cover almost the whole layer. All right, let's see if we can put this down here. Now, there's plenty of white space in there, but see how we just get that nice tone-on-tone look. And then what we can do is I've already laid down some of the washi tape and die cut it. So I did just like I did before. I layered it on to a piece of basic white cardstock. And now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to rearrange some of these pieces. I'm going to bring in the modern oval punch. Let's see if I've got a piece of scrap here. I do. And we're going to, let's go ahead and I'm not sure yet whether I want to make this a vertical, a portrait style or horizontal style. What I do think I want is I want a little strip of white on the top and the bottom to kind of set this off even more. So I have a couple pieces of basic white. I could have just cut one that is probably, instead of 3 1/4 inches wide, maybe I make it, or whatever this was, 3.5, 3.25, just make it a little bit wider, but that would waste a whole bunch of white in there. So I'm just going to put in just a little bit, put a little glue behind here, and adhere that down. Just so about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch is showing. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. You don't want to get your glue too close to the edge. You don't want it spilling out. There we go, about 1/8 of an inch. And so now we have something that this looks like it needs just a little bit of trim over here. There we go. And then we can just adhere that right there. Now I've got some strawberry slush ribbon, and I think that would look really great tied right around here. So let's cut this. Let's see, I think it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is about 22 inches or so, about 4 times the width that I'm wrapping it around, or the length, I guess, whatever way you want to call it. See it? I'm going to tie this just in a nice little bow. Okay. So here we have our little bow. Now, if you are not a bow tire, let me show you what you can do. You can wrap this around and secure it in the back. Just for ease, I'm going to go ahead and secure it with a piece of tear and tape. Let's see, where do I want that? I want that right on the bottom here. Let's go ahead and secure it right across the where one edge lines up with the white. That way we'll know it's straight because we know the white is straight. I'll just take a little bit of this off. This is also a ribbon saving trick too. All right, so I've got my ribbon wrapped around there. And now if I wanted to just tie a knot in here, I get a really pretty knot going on, I just slip the ribbon around and I tie a simple little half knot, and everything is nice and straight and pretty. So if you're not typically a nice knot tire, this is a great little trick for you. All right, we have this knot, and we can just put this right on here. Now, if I bring in this as my sentiment layer, what I can also do is create a pretty little wreath with all of these flowers. We just figure out where we want to put things. Now it'll be better once this is secured down, but I just want to give you an idea of what I'm doing. So let's see, let's actually do this one in here. And then we're gonna need a bigger flower there. And so you see, we're just building a pretty little wreath that's going to have a sentiment inside. All right, that's what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment so that we know where we're gonna put things. And let's use the With Love sentiment. Oh, well, get out a block here. And I'm going to, I think I want this sentiment to stand out, so I'm going to go ahead and use the black. And we'll just get that straight in there. That's more or less centered. It's pretty good to me. I'm going to put in some dimensionals on the back here. We'll get that put down on our card over the ribbon. Okay. And this is going to go just like this, so that with love goes right across there. We can adhere this all down, and we don't need to, you know what, we can actually use the other side of this tear and tape as some of our sticky. And we'll put some of the glue down. I mean, this is pretty just as it is, I think. But if we go ahead and create a wreath, I mean, we could just do very simple, just like, ooh, you know what? I kind of like that. Let's go ahead and put that down. I'm going to use some dimensionals. I'm going to use some mini dimensionals. Let's see, we want to put this, oops, it wasn't that one, it was this one. So I know I need one right there. I mean, that could be a big one too. And I'll put one on the end over here. So we have something like that going on. And then we don't even have to do all the way around. We could just do it in a couple places, or maybe we just use this and a little flower. Maybe we use this one and a couple little flowers. Just see how pretty that is and how simple. Don't even have to go all the way around. Let's put this on with glue. Not sure where the glue is going to hit, so put a little bit more versus a little less. There we go. And then let's put our little flowers on with dimensionals. So I've got a big one and I've got a little one. Oh, I've got a really big one here. Let's see, do I want that? Yeah, that was a little too big for the size of the foliage. All right, so I've got my little baby dimensionals on here. Get the backs off. This one's the larger one, so we'll put that one there, and then we'll put this one up here. Maybe move it over a little bit. There we go. And so there we have just a really, really pretty card. Not hard at all. What we can do is we can bring in a panel for the inside. Here's a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4. And I think this looks like it's a wedding card. So let's go ahead and make the sentiment match. Let's do that long sentiment. I forgot what it said already. For the extraordinary couple. And let's go ahead and put that in black as well. we'll stamp that right in the center of this basic white. Oops, crooked. Let's try that again. That's better, a little bit better. I got a flower stuck to the bottom. All right. Which one's the right one? That one's the right one. I'll adhere this in here. Make sure it's not upside down. Okay. There we have that. And of course we need to, let's add just this little rose down here in this corner. So we have a really pretty cardigan. Again, this would make a nice birthday card. It could be for anything. Definitely a little bit more feminine minded though, so keep that in mind. But there you have it. The Extraordinary Flora bundle is a unique one for sure. If you like coloring, just stamp a bunch of those images all at once, and then you can color them at your leisure. And if you don't like coloring, or you just like having an alternate approach to this bundle, then the washi tape is the way to go. Did you know that you can get 67 or 68 panels? That would be about 34 of each of the color combinations from one roll. And each one of those panels is 16 individual die cuts when you run it through the machine. So that's a lot of flowers to be arranging and building beautiful cards with. So my recommendation, even if you love it, love it, love it, get one roll. It's going to last you quite a while. Now, in case you haven't heard, tomorrow, July 23rd, begins a 3-day free shipping event at Stampin Up. Orders of $75 or more qualify, and that's $75 worth of merchandise. So don't look at any shipping or tax figures that come along the way. It has to be the merchandise total. And if you're using Stampin Rewards, that $75 is after the Stampin Rewards are applied. So for instance, if you have a cart that is $75 and then you apply $20 worth of Stampin Rewards, and that gets your cart down to 75 minus 20 is 55, that's not enough for free shipping. So it's like you're gonna have to either not use those Stampin Rewards or take that into consideration and order some more. I know that free shipping is always a great time for stocking up on the basics. I'll be stocking up on adhesives and envelopes and some of the cardstock colors that I need to, as well as those pesky Stampin' Cut and Emboss plates that always seem to need replacing for me. Some of the ones I've had, you may have noticed tonight, are a little bit well used, let's put it that way. If you have any questions, let me know. I thank you for watching this and supporting me, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. If you want to subscribe to my email newsletter that I send out every Monday, then the link is in the description of this video. Have a great rest of your week, and don't forget to join me on Thursday when I have another project, a fairly quick and easy project using this bundle. See you later.